Hello friends, and welcome to episode 5 of Monster Spotlight. In this episode, we'll be covering the ghostly pale wyvern, Khezu. Khezu is described as a loathsome flying wyvern covered in pale rubbery skin. Pulsating red veins and eerie deformities are found in various parts of this monster's body. Its neck has the ability to stretch long distances, making it easy for Khezu to capture its prey. Khezu seems to lack all facial features besides sharply cut nostrils and a gaping mouth covered in scattered teeth. Their eyes have regressed over the years due to their lifestyles of living deep within caves, hunting in the dark. Without the ability to hunt with their eyes, they do so using smell. Once found, Khezu will immobilize its prey with a dose of paralyzing saliva. Possibly the most unsettling part of this monster's anatomy is its tail. With many pronged teeth lining its inner rim, this tail is used to suction Khezu to walls and ceilings and ground itself when using electrical attacks. Most monsters in the Monster Hunter series are relatively tame as far as creepy designs go, but Capcom didn't hold anything back when designing Khezu. Even this monster's roar deserves a mention. Take a listen. Yeah, that's nightmare fuel. The biggest question mark when hunting a new monster is what its weapons and armor will look like once you have defeated it. It's interesting to see what characteristics are prioritized by the art team when making creative designs for weapons and armor. I like to ask these questions in my head as well. Which deadly feature of the monster is most valuable when crafting a powerful weapon? What parts of the body will protect you most when you need it? I would argue that discovering weapons and armor of a new monster is one of the most important parts to the series, creating the cycle of curiosity that keeps you moving through each game. Let's take a look at Khezu's weapons and armor. These weapons, just like the monster they came from, are visually unsettling. Most weapons crafted from monster parts look as if they had absolute precision and dedication in every inch of their forgery. Khezu weapons, on the other hand, look as if they were the result of a botched surgery, stapled and mangled together around sharp metal. Each weapon does a great job portraying its monster's features, while also posing a decent threat with its damage and elemental numbers. My two favorite weapons have to be this monster's dual blades and switch axe. Khezu's switch axe has an unbelievably over-the-top design, with surgical equipment as its main focus. How does this weapon even work? I love it. Khezu's dual blades, on the other hand, are unique for their ability to apply both Thunderblight and Paralysis. Other dual blades feature this ability, but Paralysis is an extremely useful tool, especially when hunting in a group. In regards to the armor, this set screams Plague Knight Assassin. The G-Rank version shares this look but adds a more classical Victorian-era twist. I think both designs are great, but I wish they had more options as far as armor pigment customization. Khezu's first appearance was in the original Monster Hunter on the PS2. The first quest involving Khezu is the Shadow in the Cave, requested by the noble lady of the village. She tells the player that a young child had wandered into a cave and gotten lost, but when villagers went looking for said child, they were confronted with a horrifying screeching wyvern. This is the player's motivation for seeking out this monster. The player must travel to Zone 8 of the Old Swamp to find Khezu. When first entering the area, a cutscene is triggered showing the dark features of this cave, with Khezu drooping down from the ceiling. Something I appreciate greatly in older titles of this series was their ability to truly intimidate the player. Similar to how I felt when hunting Lagiacrus for the first time, this quest makes you feel out of place, like you found yourself in an ecosystem you don't understand or belong in. This is the monster's territory, and they will use their surroundings as an advantage against you. Khezu's moveset consists of bite attacks, an AoE lightning attack, a lightning projectile, and a jump attack. This monster also has the ability to hang from the ceiling and stun you with its saliva, although it rarely uses this attack in this title. This version of Khezu is underwhelming by today's standards, but at the time it was quite the challenge. If you used a weapon without a shield, the monster was considerably more difficult to work around. Dodging after an attack was much slower back then, so you had to choose wisely when to commit. This is one of the reasons why Lance was so popular in the first generation of Monster Hunter. Khezu's next appearance was in Monster Hunter Freedom, Freedom 2, and Freedom Unite on the PSP. The only upgrade this monster received in these versions was the ability to use electricity while jumping. Khezu would be excluded from Generation 3, but eventually reintroduced in Monster Hunter 4 and 4 Ultimate. Khezu was given a good chunk of abilities in this version, notably when climbing on walls and ceilings of caves. Khezu could now use lightning projectiles and its AoE shock attack when stuck to these surfaces. Other abilities included an electrical charge attack and a shock attack that had further range on its second activation. Khezu was seen again in the anniversary titles Monster Hunter Generations and Generations Ultimate. From what I can tell, this version of Khezu behaves exactly the same as 4 and 4 Ultimate. That makes this monster's latest inclusion in the 5th generation title, Monster Hunter Rise. This version of Khezu was given 2 new attacks. Khezu may now launch 2 waves of electric orbs at the player, covering a pretty decent range. Khezu's second attack involves the monster slamming its head into the ground, then sliding it horizontally across the floor. Both attacks are decent additions, giving Khezu a few more options of how to punish the player's positioning. The only subspecies of this monster present in all mainline titles is Red Khezu. Unfortunately, this subspecies is nearly identical to its predecessor in terms of moveset. The only new attack for Red Khezu is in 4 Ultimate. When Red Khezu does a backwards evade, it can launch a lightning orb in front of it. From the research I've done, I couldn't find any more additional attacks for this monster. I must say that for one of the most classic monsters in the series, I'm surprised Capcom never introduced a new variant or subspecies over the years. In my opinion, a great subspecies they could include would be some form of Ice Khezu, maybe call it Blue Khezu just to make it simple. Seeing that Khezu prefer freezing climates and dark spaces, this seems like the most obvious choice. Here's a few fun facts about Khezu. Although Red Khezu is considered a subspecies of White Khezu, it is theorized that Red Khezu came first. Due to a lifestyle of seclusion and darkness, Khezu have taken on these genetic defects, creating a majority pale species of monsters. Khezu's method of reproduction involves paralyzing a monster's body and injecting their young inside of it. These young Khezu then feed off of the monster's insides until it dies, or they become large enough to escape the monster's body. Okay, maybe not a fun fact, but a fact nonetheless. The most well-known fact about Khezu is the lack of music when hunting it. Especially in older titles, this added greatly to the eeriness of Khezu. Not only is everything about this monster visually disturbing, but its screeching roar and the absence of music made the player feel truly alone when hunting this hellish creature. Khezu in all of its glory is an addition that players love to hate because of its long-lasting effect on their psyche and mental well-being. Personally, I find Khezu enjoyable to hunt, but I'm afraid that this monster will become bland if it doesn't receive a new variant or subspecies in the future. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Monster Spotlight, and happy Halloween! Hope everyone is having an awesome spooky season. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel for future uploads. There's a link in the description for my Discord where we talk about all things Monster Hunter and games in general. It'd be super cool if you check that out. I'm occasionally active on Twitch and Twitter, so links to those will be in the description as well. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.